Between detective and escape room games like the Unlock and Exit series, this is a pretty fabulous time to solve mysteries and puzzles. But Chronicles of Crime promises something more, with intricate app integration and a VR experience. The question is, does all that technology distract us, or does it serve to create a great mystery story? Let's find out and discuss 5 things about Chronicles of Crime. Chronicles of Crime must be played using an app, so if you don't have a compatible device, you're out of luck. You start by selecting a case. The game comes with 6, including a tutorial. At first, you'll be interacting with locations and characters, all of which have a QR code that the app scans in order to interact with the card. As the game progresses, you'll add more locations and more persons of interest. You'll also be able to find evidence that you can also scan and ask people about. You gain most of your evidence by looking around crime scenes, which you can use by either purchasing the optional VR glasses to look at them individually, or you can show on your device rotating 360 degrees. Every action you take or object you scan will use up some time, and generally events will progress if you don't use your time wisely. If you can solve the case and bring the criminal to justice, you win the game. My starting point for the game is a pro, and that's the forensic contacts you can interact with. I've seen this kind of thing in mystery games in the past, such as Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, but I really like how it's implemented here. They each have very consistently defined and useful applications within the game, and they tend to give the game a sort of logical realism that works really well. If I want to discover where a certain suspect lives, I'll contact the hacker and have them find their information. Having the 4 of them available makes the mystery move smoothly and lets me progress in a logical way that I really enjoy. My next point for the game is also a pro, and it's about the connectivity and deduction in the game. I like how everything mystery-based in the game is about scanning cards in relation to each other, in a way that again is very logical and realistic. If I want to ask a lady about her sister, I scan her, then scan the sister, and she'll tell me what I want to know. This system stands in contrast to more strict text-based games like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, where I have to read the paragraphs that are given to me when I go to a certain location or talk to a certain person, and sometimes it won't focus on the items I actually want to learn about. This game gives a lot more freedom that I really enjoy. My next point is one I'm calling a mix, although it doesn't really bother me because I think it might bother some prospective players. As I mentioned, everything in the game involves scanning QR codes and then reading text on the app. The only board game elements are the actual cards you lay out in the game. For me, this is generally a pro because things are very simple, you can look back at the history of things you've already read and not have to take too many notes, and things are kept in a nice streamlined format. But I can see an argument being made that this isn't really a board game, but is basically just a video game implementation that has had some paper parts taken out and put onto a table. I still think having those board game elements makes it easier to cooperate and work in a group, but I can still see the criticism being a bit valid.
My next point is a huge pro, and it's how generic the cards are. Now you might think generic is always going to be a bad thing, but not in this case. You'll notice that the characters are not named, but just have generic numbers. The locations are big locations and not specific addresses or buildings. What this means is that all these elements can be used in whatever way a designer of a new mystery wants to. What this means for us players is that we should be able to buy great cases for years to come at $5 each, which seems to be the price they're charging, using only the base set.
My final point is a huge pro, and that's the VR experience of investigating crime scenes. It's a little tough for me to film the device to show you how this all works, but you can rotate the crime scene in full 360 degrees. And it's really an incredibly immersive experience, unlike anything I've ever seen in any of these mystery games before. It works even better if you get the VR glasses. And I'll note that while you need to buy these separately, most VR glasses that are available online, including I believe the Google Box one, will all work just as well. But man, it makes you feel like you are actually truly in the location investigating and finding clues. One final cool point about these investigations is that even though only one person might be looking in the glasses, they need to call out what they're seeing for the other players to identify using the evidence cards. This keeps everybody involved in a really fun way as they try to figure out which of these categories best fits what's being seen. Chronicles of Crime has been such a pleasant surprise. After I was a little bit let down by Detective, this one has completely cleansed my palate and given me an amazing new mystery experience. It's tough to convey just how fun the VR glasses and looking around the crime scene is until you've done it. The game's cooperative nature doesn't suffer too much. You all feel involved because you're picking out the clues as people call them out. Additionally, the app works super smoothly, and I really love the connective nature of the mystery and having to figure out which cards to connect to which people. That said, it is a mystery game, and once you've played a case, there isn't really much reason to return to it. So unless you're willing to spend $5 a pop for extra cases down the line, you might find the content in the base game a little bit lacking. But for me, this is a huge winner and one of my top investigative mystery games of all time. Good gaming, everyone!